Welcome back. April 22nd is known as National Secure Your ID Day. It's a day set aside to take steps to protect yourself from identity theft and to get your finances in order. Now, all of this comes as the perfect time now that you've hopefully finished up those taxes. Caleb McCarthy with Elite Wealth Advisors here this morning with a bit of important info to help keep your ID safe. Well, thanks first off for being here.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we were talking about some of those important documents that you need to get rid of if they're old. Just kind of discuss that.
Well, there's some important documents that you want to have in case you ever get audited. Everybody's a tax return, just got done doing taxes for most people. You want to keep those for 7 years. Sounds like a long time. Your pay stubs you want to keep for 1 year. Make sure you match those up to your W-2. Bank statements and credit card statements keep for about 60 days. And then one very important thing is when you go to get rid of those documents, don't just throw them away. Shred them.
And what's the importance of, handling it that way? Obviously we're having our shredding event there to do something like that and just to make sure it's gone.
Yeah. According to the Better Business Bureau, 56% of all ID theft is traced back to your personal documents. So don't give the dumpster divers a chance to get onto those documents. So make sure you shred them.
$1 a week is a good idea. But are you sending them the right messages about money? How do you know if you're really getting through to them or just becoming a human ATM? Financial professional Caleb McCarthy is here to talk about 5 mistakes parents are making when giving kids allowance. Caleb, welcome to Daytime.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Do you believe in allowance in the first place?
I do. I believe it's a good fundamental way to start teaching them about money.
About what age do you think?
I think about 4 or 5 when they can actually count money and understand the difference between wants and needs is a good age to start.
Okay, well...
and I think the earlier the better.
Oh, okay. So what mistakes are you seeing people make when it comes to giving their kids allowance?
The first mistake would be waiting too long to have that conversation. I mean, we're talking about kids that are going to eventually be making big decisions, going to college, taking on debt. So I think the earlier you can start, the better.
All right. Because a lot of kids, their first experience with money is they're in the shopping cart.
Right.
And they see mom or dad putting stuff in the cart. They see mom and dad paying for the stuff. They get home, they get the stuff.
Yeah.
It's easy money.
Exactly.
So, okay, so start them early.
Yep.
Okay, now, what do you base, how much and how do they earn it? Or do you get them to earn it, or you just give them money for being cute?
Well, don't give them money just free-flowing.
No.
Because then it kind of paints the picture that money grows on trees, it's just coming from anywhere. So definitely, if you're giving them an allowance, make them have chores, make them have set things to do, and then pay them for extra things as well.
Okay, what do you think is a good amount when talking
Well, I would
kids?
say the amount is not as important as the lessons and the conversations that you're having with them about the money.
Okay.
I'm thinking about my kids. I've got a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old. So one thing I found online as I was researching this was to do 4 buckets. 1 for saving, 1 for spending, 1 for investing, and the 4th for giving to others. And I thought that was a great idea.
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
What about getting a kid their own bank account? What are your thoughts on that?
I think at a certain age, maybe around 10, I would say it's a great idea. I remember growing up, that lesson, opening a checkbook. Even though we don't use checks that much anymore, it's a good lesson to teach them how to balance that checkbook.
What if your child turns around and asks for a raise? Because kids are pretty savvy these days.
Yeah, I was going to say, first of all, expect that, right?
Yeah.
That's going to happen, and I would say it's the first time to talk to them about negotiating, right? Here's how to negotiate. But my question to my kids would be, why do you deserve a raise?
Right.
So.
Do you think it's okay to discuss with your kids how much money you make? Because you are going to get that question as when your kids get older, they'll say, Daddy, what do you make? What do you say?
I think that's a great question. At a certain age, I think that's okay to tell them the whole thing. But again, I think it's more important about teaching them that you have to work for money.
Right.
And the principles about it is most important.
How do you teach them to budget? So that if they want something, they're going to have to wait.
Right.
Because I know one child in particular, you give this child money and it's spent before you...
Right, and that brings up a good point. One of the biggest lessons or mistakes that are made out there is bailing your kids out. And I'm a perfect example of that growing up. When you're out of money, go to mom or dad and ask for more money. At the time, you thought it was great, right?
Right.
However, looking back on it, I think it's a good lesson when the money's gone. Wait till you earn your next paycheck.
Yeah, no bailouts.
Right.
Okay, tough love. But Caleb,
Yeah.
it's good advice. Caleb McCarty, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back.
Americans die without a will or an estate plan. We spoke with a local financial professional who has advice on how to make sure you're prepared.
First and foremost, everybody needs a will.
Elite Wealth Advisors CEO Caleb McCarty is reacting to reports of music legend Prince not having a will. He hopes everyone can learn from the superstar's passing. McCarty says in addition to having a will, everyone should have a financial and healthcare power of attorney.
The authority to make your healthcare decisions or your financial decisions, you should have thought about that and decided on somebody that you really know what their values are and what you trust about them.
If you have children, you also need appointed guardians.
Just sit down and think about, who do I trust? Who do I trust with my kids? And make sure that that's in writing and know who your guardian for your kids is going to be. Again, another very important thing when you're talking about not being around for your family.
McCarty says wills can be done online or drafted with a lawyer.
You sit down to do estate planning, there can be a lot of different moving parts. And that's why I think it's just very important to sit down with a trusted financial professional and an estate planning attorney to make sure you do it and it's done right.
And it's never too early to start planning.
That's the great thing about doing a will and doing some foundational estate planning. So some very small and simple steps that you take today could impact your family and your future down the road.
McCarty also says you should keep a good way to start a conversation with your kids about money. SNN's Crystal Knowles has a closer look.
We've all heard our parents say, money doesn't grow on trees. But then, where does it come from?
The reason that we have money is because mom and dad work.
CEO of Elite Wealth Advisors, Caleb McCarty says, growing up, his parents taught him a valuable lesson.
I was paid an allowance, but it was for work. I had to work to get that allowance.
And with that money,
spent most of it, like most kids do.
But he learned two big differences.
My mother said all the time to me, Caleb, do you really need this or do you want it?
Making a list of supplies needed for the school year before going shopping can narrow down needs versus wants. When buying your kids' supplies, make sure you stick to the list. Otherwise, you might end up with a bigger bill than you bargained for.
Not only a learning opportunity for the kids, but for parents to be disciplined.
Leading by example.
After you get done doing the shopping, you can also compare to see how you did.
Teaching the kiddos about budgeting since now will help them make wiser choices in the long run.
They're going to have to make six-figure decisions about college, about loans, about taking on debt. Very important decisions that can affect the rest of their life.
McCarty is thankful he learned the value of a dollar at an early age. In Sarasota, Crystal Knowles, SNN Suncoast News Network.
And the Florida tax-free weekend runs from Friday through Sunday. Florida lawmakers voted to cut allowances and dates this year. And you can go to our website, snntv.com, for more details about
love
these
Christmas because there's more opportunity to rip you off. Meredith Sensulo is here with the season's top financial scams, and there are some crazy ones out there.
There are some new ones, too. Yeah. Some of these I hadn't heard of. Florida actually ranks second in the country for online scammers. We were scammed out of $94 million last year. I talked to financial advisor Caleb McCarty about the top 3 ways we are ripped off during the holidays.
Scam number 1, gift card Grinches. Delete any email that says you're getting a free gift card if you pay a small delivery fee.
Never fall for an email where you're getting something for free because they're wanting to collect your information and then do whatever with it.
Instead, only buy gift cards online from reputable companies. Picking up gift cards at the store, buy cards that are behind the counter.
Thieves will also steal gift cards actually off the rack if they're sitting there and replace them with ones that maybe were already used.
Scam number 2, charity Scrooges. We're in the giving mood this time of year, and we also want to make donations for tax purposes, but make sure the charity you're giving to actually exists. Don't pay with cash. Write a check or use a credit card instead.
Number 1 for proof, and number 2 to write it off for tax purposes.
There are a number of websites that verify a charity is real. Scam number 3, Bad Santa. If you receive an unexpected package and are asked to verify using your credit or debit card, shut the door.
They're scanning it with a scanner that looks like what a FedEx guy would do. And they're collecting your information again.
So McCarty says even though it's an extra bit of work this time of year, review your credit card statements regularly every day if you can. That's a bummer. And set up free automatic alerts with your bank. For example, if your card is charged more than $100, you're notified immediately.
Yeah, that's a good one. Of those, I tell you, sometimes they just test it first with like a $3 or $10 purchase to see if the card works, and then they go in for the kill.
And you were saying that happened to you.
It happened to me on Friday.
Yeah.
And my credit card company called me. So.
I just can't believe they're dressing up and using scanners like they're delivering packages. Unbelievable.
Generous mood, our guard goes down and then scams go up.
We think there's so much good in everybody, but not necessarily everyone who attends. Fox 13 consumer reporter Servani Banerjee brings us the 12 scams of Christmas. What to watch out for during the holidays.
On the first day of Christmas,
One thing that people like to do
is make a charity website that looks real
and just alter the wording a little bit.
to steal info from you. On the second day of Hanukkah, something else that can be fake? Shopping apps. Don't give your credit card to scammers by mistake. On the third day, be careful. E-cards seem really fun, but if they want personal info to open it, that's your cue to run. On the fourth day, beware of companies writing letters from Santa to your kid. Check with the Better Business Bureau because only a few are legit. On the fifth day of Christmas, we're talking gift card scams.
So if you get an email saying you want a free gift card,
It's probably a sham. On the sixth day, the same goes for emailed shipping notification. Could be a scammer baiting you for information. On the seventh day, be wary of holiday temp jobs and personal info they're requiring. Go in person or to a company's main website to find exactly who is hiring. On the eighth day, buying gifts, don't use wire transferred or prepaid cards to ever pay someone. These unusual forms of payment can't be traced or be undone. On the ninth day, ding dong.
people will come to deliver something to you and ask for a small verification, maybe a credit card, something like that. But what they're actually doing is stealing your information.
Phew, we're on the 10th day and sadly there are still more scams to go. When it comes to giving to charity, check give.org.
Just make sure it's a reputable company that you know.
On the 11th day, social media gift exchanges. Buy a gift, get 30 back. They sound like a great deal, but it's a variation on a pyramid scheme. And oh yeah, it's illegal. On the 12th day of Christmas, as you sip cocoa in your pajamas, just always be on alert because
It's really a big time for scammers.
Servani Banerjee, Fox 13 News.